Good morning. I'm just trying to get it so you can see me because it's a bit bright out here. So I just thought, since I am the hippie scientist, that I would give a brief. I was chatting to someone the other day about epigenetics, and it involved a lot of hand movements, so I'm not sure how I'm going to go holding the phone and doing a live, but I just want to touch on epigenetics because it's something that I've worked in, and it's something that I think people are still trying to understand, because we've been told that oh, my heart disease is in my family, it's in my genes, so you just have that expectation, and so we inherit our genes, and we have that genetic code that is passed down. But there's a few things we need to understand about that. Firstly, expectations are very powerful things. If you have an expectation, it's more likely to happen. But also that our genes can be turned off and on. So this is where epigenetics comes in. Epigenetics is the fact that whilst we have these genes, they may or may not be expressed. And so what we do to express genes, they have to be allowed to unravel and be exposed so that they can be transcribed. So what we can do is ravel them tighter and actually make it so that they can't be expressed. So if you have the gene for breast cancer, that doesn't mean you're going to get breast cancer. And what we can do with a holistic approach is actually make sure that we're expressing the genes that we want to express and not expressing the ones that are going to be harmful. Now, there's a few things you need to remember when we're talking about turning genes on and off. One is that they've done studies that also show that our thoughts and emotions will influence the way our genes are expressed. So your thoughts, your emotions, oh sorry, I've accidentally pressed something. Your thoughts, your emotions will influence what is expressed, but also you have inherited your genetic profile from your parents and grandparents, and their thoughts and emotions changed what was expressed for them. So you've also inherited the effects of their thoughts and emotions in their DNA. So I think we just need to be aware, we really need to take a holistic approach to healing. Absolutely, you need a whole food diet. You need to nourish yourself physically, but you also need to clear energetically and emotionally what's been handed to you, or what's there that's influencing and affecting that expression. So there's a few ways that genes are turned on and off, and one is methylation. So I know that a lot of people will be familiar with methylation issues. So it's a very complex science, and it's probably not even a well understood science still. When I was starting in research 20 years ago, it was pretty much unheard of, and so working in that field, it was very much, it was a new thing to look at what genes were on and off, and we did a lot of work, even just with vitamin D and how that affected schizophrenia and the expression of schizophrenia in the genes, and what genes got turned on and off with vitamin D exposure. And so it's if one vitamin exposure can turn genes on and off, imagine what could happen if you had a whole complete complement of all the nutrition that you need, as well as doing the healing from an emotional and energetic point of view. What that can actually do to your gene expression. So it's a really, really interesting thing, very, very complicated and very hard to understand, especially when you're talking about our thoughts and emotions and them being expressed through DNA as well and passed down. But that's why I love kinesiology, because you're finding what's there in the subconscious and the unconscious, and helping people to clear it. So, you can find other avenues to really create awareness around an issue, but there are a few ways that you can actually just dig in and clear the issue, and that's why I really, really love the work with kinesiology. So yeah, they were just my thoughts on epigenetics. I just wanted to give people a bit of an idea and understanding, because I know that it is probably a buzzword that you hear about a bit. But we need to get away from the idea that if we've inherited something, if it's in our genes, if it's in our ancestral line, that we're stuck with it forever, because it's just not true. You can't say, oh well, I've got diabetes because that's my family, that's in my genes, or I've got XYZ because it's in my genes, because it's not that simple. It's very, very complex how we express our genes, and we have control over that to a very great extent. So I invite you to be empowered, to look at what you can do to help your gene expression be more positive and more in your favor. All right, have an awesome Easter weekend, guys, and chat to you soon. Okay, bye.